Welcome to the TAC Index AI podcast, April 16th, 2026, where we blend TAC IP data, reports, and charts with the latest news in all things logistics, with a focus on air cargo. Today, our mission is exploring this massive contradiction in the data.
Yeah, it's quite the paradox we're seeing right now.
Right, because on one hand, we've got the Middle East conflict and these escalating jet fuel prices that are just completely disrupting global air cargo capacity.
Absolutely.
But then paradoxically, this is all coinciding with a booming macro stock market that's just hitting record highs. So, okay, let's unpack this.
To really understand this global squeeze, we first need to look at the raw routing data and see how the regional hubs are reacting.
The numbers are pretty striking, right?
They are. The global Baltic Air Freight Index, the BAI0, that jumped 1.4% week over week.
Wow.
Yeah, which puts it up 19.2% year over year.
Hmm.
But, looking at the global average kind of hides some extreme regional whiplash.
Yeah, looking at the tech index details. London Heathrow, the BAI40, is absorbing a massive shock.
Yeah.
Outbound rates skyrocketed 14.1% just this past week,
That's huge.
putting Heathrow up almost 77% from last year. But meanwhile, Chicago, the BAI50, actually slipped 5.5% week over week.
Right, and we're also seeing Hong Kong outbound gaining, while Shanghai dipped slightly.
So it's very split.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that these soaring rates out of hubs like London, they mirror height of peak season levels. But we aren't anywhere near peak season.
It's just a pure supply squeeze then.
Yeah, it's driven by a severe loss of capacity and those soaring fuel costs, not, organic consumer demand.
Which makes me wonder, is global air freight right now basically a giant game of whack-a-mole, where an energy squeeze in one hemisphere makes shipping rates instantly pop up in another?
That is a perfect way to describe it. That regional volatility is directly caused by the physical realities of the current fuel bottleneck.
Because a fifth of global oil usually passes through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, and with the U.S.-Iran conflict severely crimping fuel supplies, those Asian and European routes are highly exposed. I mean, United Airlines is actually cutting flights to Asia entirely.
Wait, entirely? Just cutting them?
Yeah. Their CEO noted that there is just no point in burning cash on flights that cannot absorb these fuel costs.
That's wild. So the remaining capacity becomes incredibly expensive.
Exactly, and airlines are universally raising baggage and ticket fees to offset those costs, which passes the burden directly to you, the consumer.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second. Since the U.S. is a major jet fuel producer, shouldn't U.S. logistics and carriers be insulated from this Middle East bottleneck?
You'd think so, but it comes down to the physical limitations of the aircraft. A plane just cannot carry enough fuel for a full round trip across the Pacific.
Oh, right. They have to refuel over there.
Exactly. A U.S. plane landing in Asia has to buy that expensive, bottlenecked local fuel to get back home, so everyone on international routes gets exposed.
Which brings us back to that glaring macro market paradox. We have this logistical nightmare and a massive fuel crunch. But Wall Street is telling a completely different story.
A totally different story. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq just hit all-time closing highs.
It seems like they're just ignoring the supply chain smoke alarms.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, traders are essentially pricing in near-term de-escalation.
Ah, so they're optimistic the war is nearing its conclusion.
Right. They are looking right past the immediate supply chain and energy shocks. Plus, the bull market is largely driven by tech shares, which sort of insulates the indices from the logistics sector's pain.
Even though the IMF is actively warning against broad fuel subsidies, the market just shrugs it off.
Yeah, the global logistics networks and stock markets have adapted to function and even thrive under these massive pressures.
Which leaves you with a really critical thought for today's deep dive. If global logistics networks and stock markets have adapted to function under these massive geopolitical and fuel pressures, will shipping rates ever actually return to normal if peace is fully restored?
Or is this just how things are now?
Exactly. Or is this expensive capacity crunch our permanent new baseline? Something to mull over. Until next time.